Hello everyone, YouTubers. This is Condor Man Do-It-Yourself Projects, and today we are going to be trimming out weed trees and different various weeds and trees, that vines and different things that grow around people's yards. This yard is very overpopulated, and I'll probably have to do several videos possibly on this yard, because this yard has what we would call overgrown thick woods. And all around the house has various types of vines and trees, and probably maple, oak, hackleberry, various types of vines that grow like Tarzan ropes in the jungle. So I'm going to get started here and start cutting up some of these weed trees, and let's see how it goes. Alright, just simply put my gloves on here. I think first we'll probably cut off some of these bigger branches that get in there. You can't see me cutting off, but at any rate, I am cutting them. Try to get some of these so you can see me a little better in here. I can get some of these little tree limbs cut off here. Vines down in this ground here. We can't cut some of these off. Get a little bit better view that way. This is a big vine down here. It's like a Tarzan vine. I'll grab that here with whoppers. Nope, don't want to come out here. Grab it down. There she is. That's the whopper. Quite a few vines in this tree. Been growing here for several years. They whip out their leaves though. I haven't seen a whole lot of poison oak and poison ivy. Granted, there probably will be some in here somewhere. For those of you that are allergic to poison ivy, I'm allergic to all kinds of poison. say that poison sumac, if you're going to get a poison, is a lot nicer on your body as long as you don't get it on your face or your cheek or something like that. I had it on my forehead, and of course, skin separated because it got so puffy. I had a scar today because of it. As many of you probably do all your lives and your kids and stuff, you try to protect your face and some of the vital places that may, for those of you who want to be movie stars and actresses and stuff, not that you can't do that, you can still be actresses, but I've protected my face all my life. And then when I got older, in my 30s, not that that's old, at the time it was older, and I got sumac on my face, and let's just say it did a number on me that I don't really like, but hey, that's just the way the plan goes. And we just kind of dealt with it, and it kind of healed pretty good. So, but anyway, that is a when you're doing projects like this, that is a concern for sure. Trying to get some of these out of here. We got to haul all this to the street. That one's drawn around the power line. The weed tree has drawn around the power line. We'll have to be careful and not accidentally cut that thing in this branch. This here is right around the 220 power line, looks like. So we'll be real careful not to snip that rubberized tree limb there. One of these days, if I hadn't got this over here trimmed, it would have caused possibly an electrical fire. That's looking really bad. So we're going to take care of this problem here. It's probably been going on for quite a few years. I'll be real careful so that I don't get shocked here. I've seen bare wires, definitely won't touch it. Which is if you're doing jobs like this too, just be careful around these power lines or anything that you can possibly get in the way of this kind of stuff. Now, I'm going to pull a limb out here because a lot of people mistake this here as poison ivy, but this is not poison ivy. I'll bring it closer just so y'all can see. This right here is called a creeper. And a creeper, a lot of people call it, I don't know if it varies from state to state, but some people call it a Tennessee creeper. Some people call it, poison ivy, poison oak, but it's not. It's not even poisonous. This is just what they call a creeper plant, and it usually grows on a vine, and it is not poisonous. I would have had it more times than I've had it. But believe me, if it's poisonous, it'll find me. I've done a lot of pulling and riding in the woods all my life. Spent most of my time outdoors, which is where I'd rather be. No matter how hot or dirty or nasty, sometimes it gets out there. I prefer to stay outside and do everything I can to clean up the earth here. Alright, now y'all should be seeing a pretty good view of getting in here. Now they got some of these tree branches out of the way. We're getting a pretty good pile here now. We're going to have to cut all these weed trees that are growing out of this base of this stump. And I can actually bring the camera a little closer so that you can see what I'm talking about here. Because I'm kind of in a hole here and you can't see me around all this brush. But anyways, so this is what we're dealing with here. We got this stump right here where all these weed trees are growing up out of, and over here is where the power line, see, it goes around the tree stump. You can see the box. This power line, the tree has grown up through that right there, so we'll have to be real careful. This is kind of surrounds. You got like a tote right here. One, I don't know what they used it for. This is all the trees here that go up around the house. Of course, that white bar that you see back there, white paint is all the house. There's a window that's been boarded up. There's a door. There's an air conditioning unit over there and a fan. Then you got the trees that go around here. And it only gets worse when you go towards, you know, once you get to the backyard. The backyard's the worst here. Let me see if I can't pause. Alright, let's see what we can do here. Alright, I hope y'all can see better at this view now that we got a little more clear path here. So it is the fall, coming into fall season here, so naturally you got allergies, but hopefully my voice will work through this video. Alright, so for a delay, we're going to start cutting here some more. Of course, I'll probably have to use the chainsaw, so hopefully the noise won't be too great. So let's see. I'll have to come in here with a weed trimmer and get some of these weeds down. Well know, for those of you who've done this kind of stuff before, let's get dramatic in here. Also have to be wary of any snakes with all this garbage and sinks and tires and stuff all the way. Found a thing I think possible. Never know. Come in contact with a lot of different deal with this kind of stuff. All the wire here. Coming in someday. Flower pot. I'm probably going to have to cut some of these off with a chainsaw. They're a little too big for my lot. So we'll just cut a whole bunch of these out. When I try to trim these trees, I tried to put all the cut ones with the base of the tree facing forward. That way when I go to pick them up and put them on the pile on the street, it'll be easier to pick them back up and place them on the road there without getting stabbed or anything. Alright, pull this out. progress here. This is a pretty good sized tree. Alright, I'm going to have to take the chainsaw and cut these glasses off. I'll cut a couple more in here. Connected around gotta be careful there because I can see the cable for the TV line or fiber optics or something, and the vines are all around it there. You don't want to pull that off the wall. That would not be good, but that is a possibility. We'll just try not to pull that down with all vines. Probably got in around that. Here's one in the back, and you have to cut that out. Wrong angle. Maybe I can try to cut this one out first. A little big for my locker. Maybe it'll cut it. There you go. Getting my hand over a little bit. Alright, there we go. That's a big one. That's a big branch. Alright. That's getting a little too big for my locker. Let's see if I can't get this one in here now. If I can see him. Just pulled the fiber optic line or the cable line around the house. Let's see if we can carefully pull this down without pulling that line all the way down. There we go. You can probably see the line in the picture. But there's nothing we can do about that, unfortunately. I just gotta keep cutting here. See if I can pull some of these vines. Once we have line. I've already cut a couple of these vines off back there, so they should just pull out there easy. They'll just all twisting around all the cables and tree limbs, unfortunately. For those of you that have done projects like this, this is quite a mess. This is what these trees can do when they get to places they're not supposed to be. Alright, let's see if I can cut this vine around the window. So we don't rip the window off. Not poisonous, by the way. This is just a regular vine that's called a creeper. No poison ivy, no poison oak, no poison sumac. If you're wondering out there, poison oak has a very distinguished three-leaf plant, kind of like poison ivy. Now there is a difference between poison oak and poison ivy. But there are also a lot of trees out there that grow two leaves also, like bamboo. This stuff right here, I don't know if you can see it. Let me cut the piece of it off there and show you. So this is a three-leaf plant, but this is not poison ivy. This is what they call a species of bamboo, and it is not poisonous. See, poison ivy will have right here, let me point my finger here so you can see better. I'll rip a branch off. So here's a good example of this. This is bamboo, so here's a good example. Poison ivy and poison oak does not have the three branches, the three leaves right here connected to the branch. And it won't have two leaves at the bottom like that. It's gonna look something like this. And to distinguish from poison ivy, right here, these three branches, that's not a perfect good leaf here, but this leaf, these three leaves on this branch, this is how it will look. But the leaves will be a little bit smaller and a little more pointier, and you'll have to look up online to see, you know, what they actually look like. But this is what it would look like, but the leaves would be a lot smaller, and it would grow in a single branch with leaves like this. Poison oak and poison ivy are similar, a little bit different. Poison sumac actually has a limb that's a lot like, their limbs are a reddish color, and you can look those up online too. It'll have a stalk like this with leaves growing straight out on both sides, perfectly straight out from one another. And hopefully we won't run into that today, but it is a possibility. But at any rate, I will let you know if I see any. All right, moving on here. Pull that out. There we go. I'm only telling you guys about this for those of you out there that are afraid to do these kind of projects because you think that you got poison ivy, poison oak, or poison ivy and poison oak usually grow on vines. If you look at the ground at these are growing straight out of the ground with no vine. There's no vine. It's just like a tree. And when bamboo gets really long and tall, they grow up to, 5-6 inches round as a tree coming out of the ground. And if you ever cut them off, you want to cut them off flush with the ground. Because if you don't, walking barefooted, or somebody else is walking barefoot, or even with Converse shoes or regular tennis shoes that don't have much of a thick bottom, they will stab right through your shoe, and they won't feel good when it goes through your shoe, believe me. I unfortunately have never had that type of thing happen, but I've had stuff similar, other things happen. This one I'm going to try to cut my lopper. As you can see, it's kind of thicker than my lopper, but I'm trying to minimize the noise of the chainsaw. So I'm trying to get it cut partially way through there so that I don't want to break my lopper either. Let's see if I can pull that out of there. A little too thick for this type of lopper. There we go. Oh, I hit the camera. I'm going to have to straighten my camera here. I hit the camera back with it. Sorry about that. There we go. We'll put you back up here. Alright, let's see if I can't straighten my post here. There we go. I got you on a tripod here, and it moved y'all's focus here. See if I can't get this back straight here. Bear with me. Let's see here. All right, there we are. All right, took a couple of minutes here to adjust the view a little bit better here. I hit the camera with that piece of last limb there. Stuff like that happens, but hey, we all have these type of things. All right, I'm going to have to use the chainsaw here to remove some of that big stuff. so that y'all can see it a lot better. Alright, we need to top off this fuel tank here. Got to have plenty of fuel in there. There's not enough fuel in there. Okay, we got the saw started. Hopefully y'all can hear me. I'm going to cut down some of these big parts of the tree. My chain is a little bit dull. I'm going to have to put a new chain on it here shortly. I won't bore you through that changing. But anyway, we got that one. Now we're going to cut the next one. Need a little leery. Here's the power line right here. I don't know if y'all can see it. Hopefully y'all can see it close on it. I could probably give you a little bit closer view here. Let me see here. Yeah, you should have been able to see that. Okay. I'm going to go through and cut the next one off. Attached here. I'll have to cut the front part off in a little bit. Oh, there we go. Now we got release there. That's a heavy one. Alright, we're going to see here. Cut a little bit above where the power line is right here. This is all the power going in the box and this control box up here. So what I'm going to do is cut this one off first and take the thing off. Then I'm going to come and cut the branch right here. And I'm going to cut it down here to get away from that power line. Try to do this as safe as possible. For those of you that don't feel comfortable doing this, you might want to call the power department. And a lot of times they'll come out and, or at least instruct you how to get this. If you took a few pictures of it, they can instruct you on how to cut it out there or get somebody to cut it out. You might have to call a professional. Alright, starting back with the saw here. off the tree. You don't have to worry about accidentally cutting them and disturbing the pile on you. Throw that over here. Here we see it right here. Alright, now we're going to proceed to the lower part. I can't really get a good angle for y'all. I'll try to move over here so that you can see me cut a little bit better. My saw blade is getting really dull. I'm going to have to change it here in a few minutes. But at any rate, I'm going to cut a little bit in the same direction I was cutting back here. See if I can't get it to break off. I don't want to disturb this power line. Oh, there we go. I just broke right off. There we go. See there? This is the, the limb here. All in the way. I'm going to toss that over there with the other stump material. Alright, I'm going to go ahead. Y'all can't see this very well, but I'm going to go ahead and cut the stump off that one that I pulled off earlier. Alright, here it is. I'll show you in the picture. This is the whole piece that I cut out, that big stump we cut out around earlier. Alright, moving on. Let's try to get the stump down as close to the ground as we can right here. That'll make it a little easy for the homeowners to keep the tree low down. I might have to switch. You know what? I'm going to have to do that in a few minutes. Let me switch my chains here. Sorry for this short delay. All right, for those of you out there that are familiar with Stihl chainsaws, I'll do a video on how to clean and how to change a fresh chain from an old chain onto the chainsaw if y'all are interested. So I'm going to see about, let me see, I think I'm going to go ahead and cut this now that I got a fresh chain on here. I'm going to go ahead and cut this base off the tree stump right here. I'm not going to touch that wire right here because that's a live wire, so it might have some kind of rubber burrs or something on it from that tree pulling against it for so many years. I don't want to shock myself by accident. Even though I could probably use my hair a little bit straighter, but that's not the way you want to get straight hair, for sure. For those of you out there that's blessed with straight hair, not that I'm not blessed with curly hair, I like my curly hair. But sometimes I like to have straight hair, but it just wasn't in the plan. Wasn't in God's plan, so let's see what we got here. So now, and I'm not sponsored by Stihl chainsaw equipment, but I use and love their products. I have a weed whacker, weed eater that I use that I really like. I used to work for the state many years ago, and they use nothing but Stihl in the division that I work. And I really fell in love with their equipment because they were just easy to clean and easy to maintain. And it started out even when one rolled in the lake one time. It rolled into the lake and it was in that lake for about 5 to 8 minutes. And I went down there and got it back to the top of the hill. and we didn't do anything to it. They just said, hey, this started. Let's see if it starts. It started right up, and we continued chainsawing the whole rest of that day until we got back to the shop. We cleaned it all up to make sure it was clean. There was no water in the fuel at all, which is surprising. But we could use it with several tanks of fuel the rest of that 8-hour day, and everything worked good. So what you want to do is clear out the rocks, because there's quite a few rocks down here around the base. Now, I'm not going to be able to get it right on the ground, but I might be able to trim it up a little bit once I get it on the ground. But this way, if anybody knows about chainsaw chains, they get dull real easy if you chop into any sort of dirt or grit. It'll dull that chain faster than flies on you know what. So anyway, now I'm going to go here and see if I can start this up. We'll do it standing because we want it to be as safe as possible. I should be wearing chaps to have these little springs that come out if you accidentally cut yourself. But fortunately, on a slim budget, I just chose, I'm wearing cargo pants and sturdy shoes and all that, and I just try to be really careful. But you may want to buy some chaps and a face shield. I have a face shield, but I get more grit in my eyes with the face shield on, unfortunately. It's not a steel face shield, but it's just a Harbor Freight one, but still. It's supposed to protect you, and it doesn't, so I just choose to wear my safety glasses, and I just do that. Okay, on with cutting the tree. Stop here, start cutting on the back side, release my brake. This chainsaw is only a 16-inch. I have an this is a MS 180C, but I have an MS 250 that will do a better job because it's got an 18-inch bar. This one's only got a 16-inch, but I've been using this thing for years, and I've cut as big as 15 to 2 foot round trees. And you probably wonder how I did that. Well, as you cut into a tree like this, it continues to fall when it's got weight on it. When the branch is up in the air, after the tree has fallen down. And the more you cut in that spot, it'll keep falling and falling and making a bigger and bigger gap. And when you put this chain in that gap, you just keep cutting until you get to the 2 feet of the tree. But if you're cutting on a base, off the bottom like I'm doing now on a 2-foot tree or 3-foot tree, you would not be able to get all the way around the tree for the tree to break. Because the core, as you all know, is the strongest part of the tree, which is right here in the center, right here. And if you can't reach that core, then it won't come down. But I've seen trees that are completely cut through on the base, and they'll still stand like they don't even know they're cut. But anyways, we're going to continue cutting on here. Stand back up here to be safe and starting. Good way to put it is right here between your legs, with your knees slightly bent. That way, when you misfire with the pull, it doesn't pull the chainsaw out and cut something. I do it this way. This is the way they show us to do it in the State Department with the chainsaw safety course. They told us to hold it like this so that it can't jump out. If you do it on the ground, it'll do stuff like this. And when you don't want that, because if it starts and you didn't have the brake on, it'll come right into your face and cut your face wide open. You'll probably be dead then, but it wouldn't matter to you anyways after that. But at any rate, for safety's sake, I just put it right here. Real easy pull. I'll pull it. Well, I gotta turn it on first. There we go. Now I'll pull it. Start right up. There we go. Release the brake. I think that's probably about as low as I can get. There's a part of the stump. Top that over there with the other stump. There's the other part of the stump. Toss that out with the other stumps. Alright, that concludes this video of cutting that tree down right there. Thank you for watching. Y'all have a great day.